Today we're talking only about Assassin's Creed Hexa. But this won't be a simple summary like, what's the release date, what's the setting? The real question is this: will Ubisoft finally change the formula with this new game? Can they break that same game, different costume feeling we've had for years? What will Hexa's gameplay formula look like? And more importantly, what does it need to be for people to fall in love with Assassin's Creed again? Get excited again? And actually buy it again? Before we dive into the details, if you're still not subscribed to the channel, don't forget to subscribe, like the video, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your support truly means a lot. If you're ready, let's begin. I played Odyssey and I genuinely loved it. I felt the same way about Valhalla. Even though those games were massive, they always gave me a sense of I'm progressing. Like what I was doing had meaning, like I was connecting to the story and the world. But when it came to Shadows, yes, I finished it. Yes, it was smooth. Yes, visually it looked good, but here's the strange part. I finished it and never felt that, wow, that was such a great game, emotion. I didn't get that satisfaction. Because at this point, whenever I play Assassin's Creed, I feel like I'm playing the same game over and over. It's like there's one template, one day they make it Viking, one day ancient Greece. Then they move to Japan and add a samurai ninja theme. But the core loop stays the same. The structure is the same. The progression is the same. The mission design is the same. Only the costume changes. And after a while, that disconnects me from the game. That's exactly why codename Hexa is incredibly important to me. For years, I've wanted to see an Assassin's Creed set during the witch trials, a period where people accused each other out of paranoia, where fear consumed cities and villages, a story where we either hunt witches or exist as a character accused of witchcraft. This setting is a perfect opportunity to build the darkest, most tense, and most psychological experience the series has ever attempted. But here's the critical point. Hexa cannot just be the dark-themed version of the same system. If they simply darken the forests, add a few occult symbols, and give us the same open-world loop again, it means nothing. I think the series is stuck again, and it needs a second major reset. The formula felt blocked during the Unity era too, and they shifted direction with Origins. That change carried the series for years. Now we're at the same point. This formula is aging, and if it doesn't evolve, more people will lose excitement. And let me be clear, my issue isn't don't make it an RPG. It can be an RPG, and it should keep the good parts. But RPG mechanics sometimes kill the spirit of Assassin's Creed. The clearest example, the hidden blade. If I sneak up behind someone and drive the hidden blade into their throat or head, that person should die. Surviving because your level isn't high enough completely destroys the assassination fantasy for me. Not dying from sword hits, arrows, or open combat, fine. But the hidden blade is the identity of this series, and once that identity fades, stealth loses meaning too. Keep the RPG system, keep progression, keep loot. I have no issue with that. But Ubisoft needs to turn certain things into rules. The hidden blade rule is one of them. Maybe it could even be an option in the settings, a guaranteed assassination toggle, but in exchange, the risk increases. If you get caught, penalties are harsher, enemies are more alert, region alarms escalate faster. That way you restore the assassin fantasy without turning the game into easy mode. What I want isn't a power fantasy, it's an assassin fantasy. Another issue is side quests. At this point, they're practically copies of each other. Go clear this area, bring this item, kill this target, return. Yes, repetition exists in every open world game, but in a massive franchise like Assassin's Creed, this much filler content becomes exhausting. Personally, I'd rather have 25 high-quality side quests than 50 mediocre ones. Fewer, but each with its own story, characters, and impact on the world. When I finish a side quest, I want to say, I'll remember this one. It should feel worth the time and money we invest. The story side has also become a breaking point for me. The old Assassin's Creed games didn't have perfect scripts or masterpiece storytelling either, but I cared about those stories. I didn't skip cutscenes. I listened to dialogue. I completed side content to piece things together. I was curious about what would happen next in the modern-day storyline. Now, I catch myself doing missions, jumping to another mission 3 hours later and thinking, wait, what was going on again? Because the story doesn't hold me. It doesn't stay with me. I can't connect to it. This is where Hexa's potential is massive. The witch trial era naturally forces people to take the story seriously. It's a time when fear makes people betray each other, when a small rumor can drag someone to execution. If Ubisoft doesn't just use this as decoration, but actually writes a theme-driven narrative, Hexa could be the rebirth of the series. The darkness of that era shouldn't just be atmosphere. It should be the foundation of game design, mission structure, characters, and systems. And I think this is what Ubisoft has been missing for years. Adding tons of content, enlarging the map, multiplying objectives, none of that equals quality anymore. In fact, it often feels like inflating content to cover up a weak story. I want a tighter main narrative, stronger characters, a clearer pacing rhythm. When I finish the game, I want to ask, what did I just experience? Shadows felt smooth, but it left nothing inside me. Hexa needs to leave something. Hexa's biggest opportunity, in my opinion, is making the player feel not just like the hunter, but sometimes the hunted. In recent years, Assassin's Creed has empowered the player so much that charging into a crowd and cutting down 5 enemies feels normal. But in the witch trial era, that logic shouldn't apply. The danger isn't just soldiers, it's the crowd itself. Gossip, suspicion, denunciation, mass hysteria. If Hexa truly wants to be different, it must embed that psychology into gameplay. Imagine a suspicion system in the game. People stare at you when you walk the streets, whisper among themselves certain actions raise your suspicion level. Linger too long in one place, sneak behind a house, approach the wrong person, and the crowd could turn on you. Someone shouting witch could instantly change the situation. Not just patrolling guards, civilians become a threat. That alone would change the gameplay loop and finally break the new setting. Same game feeling. Another critical point is making stealth not just a preference, but a necessity. Mirage took a step in that direction, but it wasn't enough. In Hexa, stealth should be the backbone. Getting caught shouldn't just mean fail state. It should lead to torture, interrogation, reputation loss, escape, hiding. Instead of die and reload, maybe you have to flee, clear your name, live underground for a while. Consequences like these would add weight and seriousness. And again, this brings us back to the hidden blade. If stealth is the backbone, assassination must feel meaningful again. If I stab someone from behind, it should end there. Balance shouldn't come from level scaling. It should come from risk. Make approaching the target difficult. Tight guard formations. Environmental factors like light, sound, crowds, suspicion. Let the process challenge me, but if I succeed, let the reward be definitive. That is the essence of Assassin's Creed. Side quests should be integrated into these systems. Not go fetch this, but perhaps a side quest that puts you inside a witch trial, makes you witness an interrogation, shows how an accusation spirals out of control. Your choices should have consequences. Maybe you save an innocent person but endanger another. Maybe you gain reputation in one village but become blacklisted in another. Fewer side quests but meaningful ones would make the game far more valuable. What I truly want is simple. Instead of huge map, massive content. Ubisoft should focus on a powerful experience. People are tired of 100-hour checklist games. I'm tired. If Hexa is more compact but more intense, darker but deeper, offering less but higher quality content, then it could genuinely feel like a new Assassin's Creed. The same logic applies to the story. Not bigger, but stronger. The witch trial era could reframe the Assassin-Templar conflict entirely. This time, Templar power might not be shown through armies and fortresses, but through manipulating fear, weaponizing religion and law, turning people against each other. Imagine a courtroom, a torture chamber, a village square. These could feel as intense as a boss fight. If Ubisoft writes this theme correctly, Hexa's narrative could restore the seriousness we've been missing for years. Personally, I'd also like the modern-day storyline to matter again. In recent games, it's been pushed too far into the background. But one of the defining traits of Assassin's Creed was always that bigger picture, the connection between past and present. In a symbolic and psychological story like Hexa, the modern-day arc could be incredibly powerful. The mechanisms of fear from the witch trials could mirror modern systems in new ways. If those parallels are handled properly, every scene gains more meaning. There's also the character issue. One of my biggest struggles with Shadows was not being able to take the story seriously, because the characters and events didn't pull me in. Hexa has a huge advantage here. In this era, even an ordinary person can sit at the center of a dramatic narrative. If the main character is genuinely vulnerable, isolated, hunted, accused, it breaks the invincible hero formula the series has relied on for years. And that break could make the game feel fresh. I don't want a godlike protagonist. I want someone whose every step carries risk. That's why Hexa's systems must serve the story. Atmosphere, mission design, NPC behavior, even city layout should reinforce this feeling. Fog-covered streets, danger after dark, church authority pressure, roaming informants, gossip turned into a mechanic. These shouldn't be visual decoration. They should be pillars of game design. Only then can Ubisoft restore the sense of identity the series has been lacking. And again, I'm not against RPG elements. There can be levels, character progression, gear variety, but when these systems turn Assassin's Creed into a sponge enemy action RPG, the series loses its core. Ubisoft needs to take the best parts of RPG design and elevate assassination and stealth DNA to the highest level. Progression should exist, but the hidden blade should never feel like a toy. We also need to talk about game length. Not every game needs to be 120, 150 hours. That's become a marketing line, but it doesn't equal quality. I'd gladly take a tightly written 40, 60-hour Assassin's Creed. In fact, I'd prefer it. A well-crafted 50 hours is more valuable than a bloated 150. Hexa, being more compact but more impactful, could be the right path for the future of the series. What I want from Ubisoft is actually very clear. Preserve the core of classic Assassin's Creed, but rebuild the formula. Make assassination meaningful again. Make stealth mandatory again. Reduce side quests but increase quality. Tighten and take the story seriously. And use the witch trial era not just as dark decoration, but as a foundation that transforms every system in the game. If Hexa does this, I might genuinely feel excited about a new Assassin's Creed for the first time in years. If Ubisoft fails to deliver, Hexa will just repeat the different era, same game feeling, and this time, many players might not come back. We're reaching the end of our patience. Smooth gameplay, graphics, massive maps, those aren't enough anymore. People want a new feeling, a new rhythm, a new identity. Hexa's opportunity lies in making fear and paranoia part of the mechanics, not just the atmosphere. The player should constantly wonder, am I being watched? Will I be reported? Will one wrong move make the crowd turn on me? Only then will it truly feel like a new Assassin's Creed. For me, Hexa could be the game where Ubisoft proves itself again. This series has been part of our lives for years, and I still love Assassin's Creed. I just don't want to watch it stay trapped inside the same template. If Hexa is more compact, more intense, higher quality, and bolder, if it makes the hidden blade lethal again, places stealth back at the heart of the series, and delivers a truly strong story, then for the first time in years, I'll say, this is it. Do you think Hexa can truly revive Assassin's Creed, or will it just be the same formula in a different costume? And of course, if you're still not subscribed, don't forget to subscribe, like the video, and share to support the channel. See you in the next video.